Perhaps we should start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Ashraf al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And a very good day to all of you joining us from different parts of the world. On behalf of Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance, the training arm of the Central Bank of Bahrain, I warmly welcome you all to our monthly talk number 5 for the year 2025 as part of our Islamic Finance Talk series. BIBF is the training arm of the Central Bank of Bahrain. As a premier provider of financial education and training in the region, we provide education in business and finance through undergraduate and postgraduate degree programs, professional qualifications, as well as our own qualifications. In addition to that, we offer short programs as well as customized training programs for our stakeholders through 6 centers of excellence that we have. These include banking and finance, Islamic finance, insurance, leadership and management, digital transformation, and project management, as well as an academic center that we have. We offer undergraduate and postgraduate degree programs as well in collaboration with our partner universities, the UK and the US. When it comes to Islamic finance, we are working with global stakeholders as their capacity building partner within the industry, not just Bahrain or the region, but globally. In addition to that, we have a number of specialized programs on different aspects of Islamic banking and finance, including an executive management program, which is hosted at the Cambridge University called an Islamic Finance Leadership Program. For more information about BIBF and to benefit from some of the programs that we offer for the global Islamic banking and finance industry, please feel free to visit our website, that is bibf.com. My name is Dr. Rizwan Malik. I head up the Islamic Finance Center at BIBF. And prior to my current role, I spent some, about 4 years at IOFI as part of standards implementation and strategic development team. BIBF is very proud to host this Islamic Finance Talk series, where the aim is to provide thought leadership as well as discuss important issues and emerging topics within the global Islamic economics, banking, and finance landscape. The aim through these talks is to foster meaningful dialogue, facilitate exchange of knowledge, and explore evolving landscape within the industry. As we embark on this journey, we hope to inspire, inshallah, innovation, promote best practices, and contribute to the sustainable development of this dear industry that we have. Today's talk is on one of the important areas. As I said, this is part of our monthly talk series. Every month we select a topic and invite a subject matter expert to speak on that topic for about 90 minutes. So the session is scheduled between now and in next 90 minutes, where we will have a presenter talk sharing his knowledge and expertise for about 75 minutes, and then we will have 15 minutes for Q&A towards the end of the session. So today's topic is one of the most important area that is talked about within the industry, a topic that connects with all of us, and more so in the light of current geopolitical crisis around the world. We have the talk is on reimagining Islamic social finance, innovative tools for sustainable development and social impact. What helps us put this event together is our collaboration with a very important partner that we have, and and the partner is Hejaz, who is actually supporting this initiative of awareness and advocacy programs. Hejaz is a leading financial institution that delivers broad range of Islamic financial services across investment management, superannuation services, financial advice, and financing services to banks and to individuals, corporate, SME, others in around the world. Hejaz was founded in 2014, headquartered in Melbourne in Australia, but more recently has opened and has shifted its headquarters to Bahrain. We are very proud to host Hejaz in Bahrain, and it has a number of other offices around the region, around the world. So before we get into the talk of the session that is on Islamic social finance, we have the pleasure of having Brother Muzammil Adede, who is the co-founder as well as Chief Product and Compliance Officer, who I would like to pass on this virtual mic to formally welcome you all and share his welcome remarks. Over to you, Brother Muzammil.
Thank you, Dr. Rizwan. Always a pleasure. And you introduced me better than I can introduce myself. So I always appreciate that. Thank you very much. First and foremost, welcome to everybody, I guess, who's joined today's session. I think it will be a very, very informative session. We were just, before we all came online, had a quick intro discussion with today's speaker, Dr. Aisha, a very, very impressive, number of accolades that she's built over her career and some tremendous work that she's done in an incredibly sensitive but very, very important area with social finance. And with us at Hejaz, at the end of the day, we are a global organization, that we have many different verticals. Primarily, we operate in areas of asset management, lending and finance, as well as fintech. We have our own fintech app, which provides everything from banking and finance services through to investments. We have ETFs listed on a number of different global exchanges in Australia, London, and now into the Middle East as well. And there is a lot of scope for growth and innovation and improvement across many different sort of verticals in Islamic finance. So I think today's conversation is timely, considering the backdrop that we all see around the globe and the pivotal role that social finance can play. And I'm definitely interested to understand a lot more about this space. And it's an area that we as an organization have been, brainstorming and thinking about for a long time. And I think we can all leverage the learnings of one another in terms of who have been practitioners in this space, who have delivered outcomes in this space, but also those of us who have considered, supporting the great cause. And in terms of what the path to market look like and what potential strategies we can all employ and implement to achieve the greater good for Islamic finance, and also in terms of our own growth and viability across the various sectors that we operate in. So looking forward to the session, and always very commendable for BIBF and Dr. Rizwan and his team for what they do. Building awareness is incredibly important. Building education is incredibly important. And putting these sessions together is not easy. Finding the right speakers, getting the right audience in the room, the right sort of faculties, the right minds coming together to deliberate and deliver is always very, very powerful. And I think BIBF and the CBB in Bahrain do a tremendous job in that regard as well. So I guess they're my remarks, and over to, I guess, the main guest for today to carry forward today's conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Muzammil. That is, that is very kind of you, and we appreciate the support that comes in from Hejaz in putting together these talks. We thank you very much for spending your time and joining us. And certainly looking forward to one of the sessions delivered by Hejaz as well on some of your capabilities as well. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, today's talk is on Islamic social finance. And the talk focuses on the transformative potential of Islamic social finance in addressing some of the contemporary social challenges and promoting sustainable development. It aims to explore innovative financial tools and frameworks that align with Islamic principles while driving social impact. And that is the talk of the town. And given what is happening in the geopolitical space that we are all part of, I think the timing of this couldn't be any better. And we always emphasize on the potential of this. A lot of times we expect too much from Islamic banks and the financial institutions, that they solve all of our problems. But I think there is a very important arm within the Islamic economics, banking and finance, which is the social finance space, which has its own potential, the potential of zakah, the potential of awqaf, the potential of waqf, the potential of endowments, that is very much talked about. And this particular session will further elaborate on the transformative role that this particular space has. And who better to speak about this session, then to have our dear friend, Professor Dr. Aishath Muneeza, who's an Associate Dean related to students and internationalization space in CF, which is a very dear institution to the Islamic banking and finance space, providing human resource talent or enhancing human resource talent within the global Islamic bank and finance space. And we at BIBF are very keen as well as hopeful in working with NCF in further advancing the capacity within this Indian industry that we have. Professor Aishath is a very experienced and knowledgeable practitioner come academician. She is a professor and associate dean for students and internationalization at NCF, NCF, the University in Malaysia, which is a renowned as the global university in Islamic finance. She has an extensive career, mashallah, involved with a lot of great developments to her name. She has served as the first female deputy minister of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Maldives, deputy minister of Ministry of Finance and Treasury in Maldives, and head of Islamic finance at Islamic Capital Market Development Authority of Maldives. A lot of it won't be wrong to say that a lot of developments that has happened within the Islamic finance space, in particular the Islamic capital markets, she has been the source and inspiration and the power behind a lot of these initiatives. So she has also been a member of Islamic Fiqh Academy or the National Fatwa Council of Maldives, the first chair of the Hajj Pilgrimage Fund at Maldives, which is the Tabung Haji equivalent of Malaysia, and the chair of Maldives Center of Islamic Finance. Very proud. She is a very active, contributor, writer, when it comes to the topics of Islamic banking and finance. So very excited to have Dr. Aishath with us. I will not take a lot of time, but we really appreciate and the support that comes in and the work that in this space, not just Islamic social finance is one part of our area, but her focus on the governance part and other areas is very important as well. She's also a member of IOFI, Public Interest Monitoring Consultative Committee, which we set up while my time at IOFI, and she's still a member of that. She's also was elected as an executive committee member of the Bar Council of Maldives. So very, very honored to have Dr. Aishath yourselves with us. Just before I pass it on to yourselves, I want to just the housekeeping rules for our colleagues. As I said, towards the end of the session, we will keep 15 minutes for question answers. However, during the session, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to use the Q&A tab, which appears on top of your screen. The chat window, fortunately for us, but unfortunately, has been disabled, just to make sure that any questions, we keep the discussion relevant to the session, and Q&A are asked on the questions on the topic itself. So please feel free to ask any questions. If time permits, we might allow asking questions by voice towards the end of the session. But if not, I ask you for your forgiveness in advance if we don't have time. The session will be uploaded on YouTube on BIBF YouTube channel. Please feel free to subscribe to that channel or seek notification so that you're notified once the session is uploaded, in case you wish to refer back to it later on. So with that in mind, without any further ado, I pass it on to Dr. Aishath Muneeza to take us forward into the session. And I thank you very much once again for sparing your time and being with us. And thank you everybody who has joined us for this very informative session. We had more than 680 registrations for this program, and we hope you find it beneficial, inshallah. Over to you, Dr. Aishath.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rizwan.
You're welcome.
Can you see my screen? Yes, right?
Yes.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to everyone. As you can see from the screen, today we are exploring reimagining Islamic social finance. How can we go beyond traditional charity to innovate sustainable solutions rooted in our faith. As you know, despite centuries of practice, poverty remains. That's why it's the right time to rethink how social finance works using new tools, new technology, and new innovative community models that empower rather than just give. Together, we will discover how Islamic social finance can become a true engine for lasting social impact. Let's begin. Can you see my slides moving? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we just move away from the content and let's go directly to the substance of our discussion. Now, when we talk about Islamic social finance at its heart, it's not just a financial mechanism, it's a divine trust rooted in justice, equity, and compassion. And if you look at the reason why it is there, it is basically designed not just to give, but to uplift communities. Therefore, I use this opportunity to ask this important question to you today. If Islamic social finance or conventional social finance mechanisms are there in the world, why is poverty still all around us? We have had zakat, awqaf, sadaqah for centuries, but still millions remain trapped in cycles of hardship. And because of this, we need to face the difficult truth. We understand that the traditional models we have are, of course, noble, but they are no longer enough. They often focus on relief mechanisms, but doesn't empower the populations. They focus on charity, but not the transformation effect. And therefore, the purpose of choosing this topic to present to you all today is not to criticize Islamic social finance, but the whole purpose is to reimagine how we can align our noble tools with the modern world's challenges. Therefore, I must be clear in the beginning. When I say reimagining in this context, it doesn't mean replacing. It means we want to strengthen what we have, making it more effective, or you can call it more dignified or more sustainable. It simply means that we are trying to ensure that the values of Islam, such as mercy or solidarity or social justice, are not just preserved but are unleashed in new, impactful ways. Now, if you look at this slide, what we want to do is we want to take a step back and try to understand what is the meaning of social finance in today's world. Whether it is conventional or Islamic doesn't matter. At its core, social finance is basically the mobilization of money to do good. What we want to do is resolve social problems, to support communities, just to ensure that the lives of those who are unserved and underserved segment of the populations are made better. There are various types of tools used for that purpose. We have grants, donations, social impact bonds, and social entrepreneurship investments as well. Basically, all these tools are used to fund initiatives in housing or health or education or basically for any purpose that leads us to poverty, elimination, or elevation. Now, this is the time again for us to pause a little bit and reflect as well. Very often it is said that social finance measures its success by how much money is given, not by how deeply lives are transformed. We focus on the input, the dollars spent, but how many of us ask us this question? Did that money change the system? Did it create independence or just create another round of dependence? And that is the limitation of many of the current social finance models we have. Our goal must be to shift from funding needs to transforming lives. Social finance should not just fill the gap temporarily, it should close the gap in a permanent manner. And this is the shift we are talking about today. Now, in this slide, what we are trying to do is to introduce a powerful concept that is reshaping how finance impact, which is the blended finance. I'm sure most of you have heard about blended financing models. Basically, blended finance is not just about money, it's about, as we put it, smart money. Basically, it's a method that combines public, private, and philanthropic capital in order to reduce risk and increase attractiveness of social investments. Now, imagine a situation like this. There's a government who's providing seed funding or guaranteeing. In this case, there is de-risking a project enough to pull in private investors for something as essential as, we can say, a water system in a rural or a remote village or an area. But what is exciting for us in Islamic finance space is, if we talk about waqf, of course we can use waqf land, we can also use zakat subsidies to provide socio-economic justice. And we also can blend that which is ethical private capital to build hospitals, schools, or any type of sustainable livelihoods in a Sharia-compliant way. Now, this means that what we are trying to do in this context is we are trying to ensure that values meet value, where Islamic social finance is used to integrate into global language of impact investing. And with blended finance, we can move from small scattered interventions to scalable, what we call nowadays the sustainable solutions. And this is the way in which we can convert or turn good intentions into lasting change. Now, let's return to our roots, which is the topic for today, Islamic social finance. Of course, when I say Islamic social finance, even though the concept can be a recent concept which has emerged, it's not a new concept. It's, of course, often described as a noble trust. It is a divine design of financial mechanisms built on foundation of Sharia, mercy and compassion. And we have such powerful tools at our disposal. If we talk about zakat, we can describe zakat as the obligatory charity that purifies our wealth. We have sadaqah, the voluntary giving that purifies our hearts. And we also have waqf, the endowment that sustains benefit for generations. Even when we die, it is there for us. And finally, we have Qard Hasan, the interest-free loan that dignifies the borrower. Now, this list is not limited to these four concepts that has been shown in the screen. It is more than that. Likewise, we can say that Islamic social finance is more than a list of tools as well, because it is a philosophy. It tries to uphold dignity, demands equity, and it also insists on justice. That's why, in short, we always say these types of Islamic social finance instruments are there to achieve socio-economic justice, to create not only independence, but also empower, especially to lift individuals and not to label them according to their social background. Now, the probing question here is, despite having this divine framework with us for centuries, are these tools not transforming the world at scale? The truth is, they remain underutilized, fragmented, and sidelined. They are rarely integrated into formal development plans or financial systems, and that is the challenge we face. Even though it can be viewed as a challenge, it can be seen as an opportunity at the same time as well. So to bring Islamic social finance into the heart of development, where actually it belongs to, what should we do? Is there anything we can change? This is the question that we have to answer. Now, let's be honest about how social finance is perceived today. Whether it is in boardrooms or in NGOs or even in the minds of donors, we have a perception about how social finance ought to be. For many, social finance simply means let's give some money to the poor. It's a feel good act, whether it's a donation, a disbursement, or a one time gesture. But the reality is that one time aid, does it change lives? Or does it build skills? Or does it break the cycle of poverty? And more importantly, does it build dignity? In short, when we look at Islamic social finance mechanisms, we see that often there aren't any follow up or systemic mechanism to track outcomes or accountability. The person receives aid today, and tomorrow they are back at the same point or worse. This creates a silent injustice where well meaning charity unintentionally traps people in cycle of dependency. Therefore, again, we must ask ourselves, are we solving the problem or just making it more comfortable? Social finance today is often viewed as a transaction. It doesn't have a transformation effect. And that's why we must reimagine how we do this, not by abandoning giving, but by redesigning it to restore dignity, long term impact, and promoting self sufficiency. Now, let me introduce you to Fatima. She's a widow living in a rural village. Every month, she receives a small amount of cash assistance, just enough to survive. But Fatima doesn't have any access to job training. She doesn't find healthcare nearby. She has children, but not childcare support. Now, the question I ask you is this enough? Can we really say Fatima has a chance to escape poverty on her own? Just because she receives some money, does it mean that she is living a healthy life? We must be clear. Poverty is not about the absence of money alone. Poverty is about the absence of systems that create opportunity, dignity, and resilience as well. What Fatima needs in this case is not pity. She needs a pathway. And that brings us to the hard truth. Traditional aid, no matter how well intentioned, is not enough. Because poverty is not an individual problem, it's a systemic issue shaped by education, healthcare, gender norms, social infrastructure, and economic access. If we continue to treat poverty like a personal flaw with a little cash and a pat on the back, then definitely we are not solving the problem, we are sustaining the problems and issues. That's why we must challenge the status quo and begin reimagining what social finance can and must and ought to become. Now, in this slide, what we are trying to do is we are talking about reimagining social finance by shifting our mindset from giving to the poor to building with communities. Social finance is not just about distributing resources, it's about constructing ecosystems of support so people can not only survive but they can thrive as well with dignity. This requires a systems approach. Now, when I talk about systems approach in this context, it means that we have to connect the dots between education, which builds capacity, healthcare that ensures well-being, mentorship that guides growth, childcare that enables participation, and strong community networks that foster belonging. When these pieces come together, aid is no longer a temporary solution. It becomes transformational because we are not handing someone a rope and walking away, but we are helping them build the ladder step by step with tools that will last for a lifetime. This is the future of Islamic social finance, one that is not built on handout, but on hope, shared responsibility, and systems. Therefore, we should stop thinking in terms of relief. Rather, we should provide long-term solutions and resilience through Islamic social finance mechanisms. Now let's look at some of the innovative ways in which we could reimagine Islamic social finance. Now, one of the innovative solutions which I have proposed here is the Community Credit Exchange or CCE. Now, this can be a fantasy for some, but actually this is a real functional model that reimagines how value is created and exchanged in societies. How it works is, for example, you can imagine a housewife in your neighborhood. She will be spending her days caring for elders or teaching children or organizing local events. All of these are unpaid labors, but those are vital for society. In the CCE model, what we are proposing is that she should earn some community credits for this work, just like someone earning a salary. Now, picture a busy professional who has no time to volunteer at all, but he wants to give back to the society. With this objective, what he does is he will donate some money into the CCE system and receives community credits in return. These credits can be traded within the community for service or goods or even recognition, creating a vibrant cycle of contribution and reward at the same time. Now, by having a CCE model, what are we trying to achieve? Number one, it recognizes the invisible economy, the care, the compassion, or the unpaid labor. It also connects different members of society, allowing each to contribute based on their capacity. And most importantly, it redefines wealth. Sometimes when we talk about wealth, we believe that wealth is just money. But in CCE model, we are saying that even meaningful social engagement can be considered as wealth. With this kind of innovation, Islamic social finance can champion where value is measured not just by what's in your wallet or bank account, but it can be valued through what's in your heart or hands or even the time you give. And I believe that this is what we call something similar to the dignity we intend to see. And this is the socio-economic justice we want to achieve. And this is what it should be when we reimagine social finance. Next is a very important tool that can be used because poverty in 21st century cannot be solved with 20th century tools, right? There's where technology becomes a game changer because when we want to reimagine Islamic social finance, there's a lot of potential to use technology in an effective manner. And I have put some examples here. First, we will look at the use of IoT, the Internet of Things. Now, imagine smart devices in homes that will detect essential needs when the food is running low, when there's no electricity, when there's a lack of clean water. These devices can automatically trigger aid without the family ever needing to beg, register, or even wait in long queues or lines. Next technology, which I have put here, is blockchain. What if I told you that every cent of zakat or waqf you donate could be tracked from your hand to the recipient with zero corruption? Blockchain makes that possible, which makes all transaction fully transparent and fully traceable as well. And the final one I have put here is artificial intelligence. AI can process vast amount of data to predict where hunger or medical needs may arise. Weeks before they do, it helps us to move from reactive charity to proactive care and compassion. So what does this look like in real life? Let's try to imagine as well. Now imagine a family in need. They don't fill out forms, they don't have to go to 10 or hundreds of offices, they don't have to beg. Instead, just a smart sensor in their kitchen can detect that their food is low, and immediately the zakat organizations can send zakat funded groceries to their doorstep. So this is not a science fiction. This is a faithful, futuristic model of Islamic social finance where compassion meets code, where no dignity is lost, no soul is left behind, and at the same time, we are using smart technology in a Sharia compliant and impactful manner. Now, this brings us to the discussion on what is our vision to life with real practical examples of what reimagined Islamic social finance can look like. So, number one is digital zakat plus poverty mapping. If we can combine national ID data with geospatial poverty maps, zakat can be given to people who are in need, which means that we don't have any type of random zakat distribution anymore. It will be targeted with precision to the households that need it the most at the time they need it. Number two is AI-enabled Waqf land platforms. We have seen a lot of idle lands in different parts of the world today, and in fact, this is a global issue we face. So with AI, we can match available Waqf lands with development needs, for example, building schools, solar farms, or clinics, where we are unlocking the untapped potential of centuries-old endowments. Number three is community service tokens. Also, sometimes it's referred to as time banking. Imagine a retired teacher tutoring children or a neighbor helping care for the elderly. They can earn service tokens, which they can redeem later or even give to others. No money actually changes from hand to hand, but the value is created. And because of this, the dignity is preserved and the community is strengthened. Number four is crowd sadaqa platforms. Now, imagine a digital platform where you give sadaqah and you can watch your donation in action, tracking how it is built and how it makes an impact in the society. For example, if you have donated to build a well, you know when exactly the well is built and the impact you have created. So with transparency, you will be creating more positive impact and you will feel it at the same time, which makes you encourage more to do good as well. And finally, volunteer matching apps, an app that connects those who want to help with those who need help. Whether you are a doctor or even a counselor or a lawyer, you can give your skills as a sadaqah. So basically, what we need to emphasize here is that these are some of the potential models, or some of these models can be already implemented in different parts of the world or is being currently piloted. But these are the models that will bring real impact to the societies in which we live. And these models can help us to reimagine social finance in such a way that we are moving from tradition to transformation without losing its soul. So in this slide, again, we are focusing on how do we go beyond money? Because as already mentioned, real wealth is more than what's in our bank accounts. So let's try to reimagine this. What if we saw time as capital? For instance, every hour a mother spends caring for her child, every retired teacher tutoring a student, every volunteer who shows up when no one else does. These are not free favors, they are the backbone of our societies. Also, what if we saw skills as sadaqah? You don't just give a portion of your wealth, you give a portion of your knowledge to uplift someone else, doctors offering free clinics, like lawyers advising, for example, social startups, accountants mentoring micro entrepreneurs. So I would say this can be the sadaqah of the mind. Also, can we imagine a social enterprise where volunteers contribute their time? Instead of a paycheck, they earn community credits or recognition or vital services in return. If we can create a new reward system for doing good, how would our societies be? Can we imagine for it for a while? When we measure success in social finance, we should stop looking only at money. Let's count on kindness. Also, try to measure mentoring. Also, we need to value emotional labor, the social energy which is created, and civic action as well. Because ultimately, reimagining Islamic social finance means creating a culture where giving isn't limited to only cash. It should be a world where everyone has something to give and every act of goodness should matter. This should be the future we must build together. Now, let's talk about the heart of our societies, our Islamic institutions. What are the potential roles of them? Normally, when we talk about Islamic social finance, we always tend to put all the responsibilities of having Islamic social finance on Islamic banks or those institutions already offering Islamic finance, but that shouldn't be the case. Now, for centuries, the mosques was not just a place of worship. It was a school, a shelter, a courtroom, and hub for public good as well. So this is the time we have to return to that legacy. We have to reimagine for the 21st century how this could be done. So imagine mosques becoming education hubs where we can offer digital literacy classes, youth leadership programs, or even skills training. Can we also imagine mosques with community kitchens, for example, where we feed the poor not just during Ramadan, but every week with dignity and structure? Can we picture it as a volunteer coordination centers where youth sign up to serve their neighborhoods, guided, trained, and appreciated? And if we look at Waqf system, across the Muslim world, there are billions worth dormant Waqf assets and it is sitting idle, it's being unused as we speak now. Can we activate them using tech or blended finance or professional management? Maybe a Waqf school can be built on an idle Waqf land. A Waqf hospital can be run through a public-private partnerships. Likewise, let's look at zakat as well. It must evolve from just survival support to a strategic enabler. Zakat should fund small businesses, provide scholarships, and finance basic health insurance. Let it become a springboard for dignity, not just a bandage for poverty. But can we do this alone? This is again a question that we have to ponder today. I don't think we can do it alone. Therefore, it's essential to create partnership. Now, when we say partnership, with whom should we partner with? With fintech innovators, with social entrepreneurs, with GovTech agencies, in order to create a connected, accountable, and scalable social finance ecosystem, collaboration is essential. Again, we have to emphasize the fact that doing all these types of collaboration is not a departure from our tradition because we are trying to ensure that we make a lasting systemic change through these collaborations. Now, let's look at a vision here. Of course, we want to be hopeful and we want to show in future how we can reimagine social finance. So if we can reimagine social finance in the manner which has been described just now, what can we see in future? Number one, we can see a world where no one has to beg because aid reaches people before the hunger does, because systems are designed to preserve dignity, not just deliver survival. We can also see a world where everyone's effort is valued. The mother who teaches neighborhood kids, the retired teacher who gives 1 hour a week, the tech entrepreneur who donates his time to build solutions, all will be honored because we are creating a reward system with community credit where recognition and impact are built within it. We can also see aid become smarter, transparent, and timely as well because it flows when it's needed without layer of bureaucracy, whether we use IoT, AI, or any type of technology. It is not we are using these technologies because they are trendy, because they make compassion more efficient. Likewise, communities are lifted, not just individuals, because we stop treating poverty as a personal flaw. Rather, we build an ecosystem that support, that provide education and opportunity to all. And finally, social finance is no longer the fire extinguisher, only which is something which is used in emergencies. It becomes the engine of development because driving innovation, enterprises, and justice in the Muslim world and beyond can be achieved through Islamic social finance. So, to conclude, we should remember the fundamental truth about poverty. Poverty is complex. It cannot be solved only by contributing money. It cannot be resolved by following the old models alone. And this is the reason why we must say that social finance must be just as complex as poverty, and we should be more creative as well. Therefore, I believe that this is the time that we should reimagine Islamic social finance so that we can fuse it with innovation, with compassion, and we can have a socio-economic justice achieved societies in different parts of the world. And to open the door wider and invite everyone in, we should form collaborations which are effective. So I believe that through this presentation, we understand the challenges we have, but we have the power to convert or change these challenges into opportunity. What we need to do is act and try to transform our shared vision into a shared reality. With this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aishath. I must say that that was, a lot of thought has gone into providing these some of the solutions to the pain points, and I think that is very helpful from that perspective. Now, I would like to open up the floor for questions. I think we can take questions by voice as well, if Dr. Aisha, if your time permits.
Sure.
Before I open up the floor and I let people think of the questions, I wanted to ask you very quickly to share how does this community credit scheme that you're proposing works? Are we saying that somebody does these good things and they accumulate those points, and then afterwards they can use those points for something else? Just wanting to reimagine that concept, and maybe if you can explain it a little bit more detail.
Sure.
Because I see that
yes.
there's a potential for us to even goes towards a similar concept to carbon credits where they can be exchanged at times, and then would they be listed, or and can we do tokenization on that? So there's a lot of potential in all of those. But I let you explain that, please.
Thank you very much for that great question. In fact, in the presentation, I didn't go deep into the concept, but how it works is, let me illustrate using an example. This is a pilot project we are working with UNFPA and one of the NGOs of, a foundation of a university in Malaysia. So what we do is you can assume there are students who are coming from B40 population in universities, right? So they don't have enough money to sustain their time at the university. So what we do is we give them the opportunity to serve as volunteers or provide a volunteer service to an elderly care home. and they will be going there providing their service, and the hours they spend there will be compensated in the community credit exchange, which UNFPA, a strategic partner, which is the bank, and the university yayasan or foundation creates. So at the end of the day, after providing the volunteer services to the elderly care home, the students will be coming back and showing the proof that they have earned community credit. And this community credit can be changed to money, which can be used as their stipend to survive their university life. So in the context of, we have also formulated how this should work in the context of corporate as well. So if it's a corporation or a company, imagine you have KPI points to achieve, right? You have a certain KPI, and one of the KPIs that would be set by the company would be certain number of hours should be served in a community program. So let's assume that the staff goes to an elderly care home, gives some hours there. When the person returns, the person will be having community credit that will be converted into bonus. So this is how it works. It's similar to the carbon credit as well. But in this case, again, there is a higher authority that should set that for a jurisdiction or for a certain organization, this should be the amount of hours that should be uh, fulfilled as community credit hours. So once that is set, then only this would work. So after the pilot project, hopefully we would be able to share more information on how this should work.
Okay, thank you very much. I saw some hands raised, but now the hands have gone away. So I imagine maybe that answered your question. If anybody has any questions and would like to ask by voice, please raise your hand, and we should be able to allow you. In the meantime, Dr. Aisha, we have this one question coming in from Brother Shajid. And first, great to have you, Brother Shajid. The question is, can we use non-charity modes of Islamic finance like Mudaraba and Musharaka with the objective of forming and empowering for-profit, sustainable social entrepreneurial initiatives? How can we reimagine this kind of arrangement? So,
thank you very much for that question. Again, it's a very practical question because this is what we are doing. Some have this perception that if it is Islamic social finance, it cannot be used for profit, right? But it is not like that. Even if you see how IFSP has defined Islamic social finance, it has element of profit and not for profit as well. As long as we achieve a social objective or element, it could be considered as an Islamic social finance mode or tool or an institution. So that's why nowadays we say that Islamic social finance mechanisms, tools, institutions doesn't have an exhaustive list. It can be anything. For instance, even sukuk. Previously, if we talk about sukuk, it is always for commercial purpose we use sukuk. But nowadays, there is a concept called social sukuk as well, right? And if you look at takaful, previously it was for commercial purposes only because takaful operators are supposed to do it for profit. But nowadays, there is a concept of social takaful as well, where the contribution comes from government or a third party who want to provide certain coverage for B40 or those who cannot afford. Likewise, microfinance is also there whereby the contribution is small, but it comes directly from the contributors themselves. So likewise, even if the concept is being used in Islamic financial institutions such as Musharaka, Mularaba, Murabaha, whatever the commercial finance concepts we are using, we can customize it to achieve a social element. So it's not only Qarl Hasan that could be given to a person, we could also give Musharaka or Mularaba type of equity financing. so that we grow with the person rather than putting them into a debt trap. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We have two hands raised. One is from Brother Khalfan and one is from Brother Mustafa. Both of you are asked, you're allowed to ask by voice. Please unmute yourself and ask the question, please. Brother Khalfan or Brother Mustafa? Brother Mustafa, you can go ahead then.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Professor Aisha, I'm glad we are at the same page here today. And Dr.
Thank you very
Ridwan,
much.
how are you? I have listened to the very eloquent presentation you made. We have
Thank
all
you,
come.
Prof.
We have all come to the conclusion that Islamic social finance is a complement to the traditional, it could be a complement or the other alternative to the Islamic commercial finance in the form of banking and other forms of undertakings. Islamic social finance really is is for the less privileged in its essence. My thought is that in most of the presentations, discussions, and very engaging sessions I come across on Islamic social finance, a very key element, very fundamental to its sustainability and success, which is trust among operators, is really given the required attention from both ends, from the listening end and from the presenting end. So I think it will be good to emphasize. Let me, in a way, request you to say something about the importance of trust in assuring sustainability and continued problem-solving future of Islamic social finance.
Thank you very much. Of course, trust is essential in any type of, even if we talk about commercial transactions, trust is very, very important. But today, if we look at how Islamic social financial institutions, if we can call those institutions offering the ad hoc instruments as institutions, one of the fundamental reason why people don't have faith in them is because they don't trust them. If it is a government affiliated institution, they have this complaint that it could be too much corrupted. Or if it is an NGO, they could say they don't have transparency. We don't know where the money goes into, right? So these are some of the like complaints that is coming from donors, while at the same time from the beneficiaries themselves, they also have complaints. Sometimes they say, how can we trust this institution when they have so much documents that has to be presented in order to prove that we are eligible to get the help or aid? Or sometimes they say we have to do multiple registrations per year, and the amount we get as aid is not sufficient for us to survive even in 1 month. Or some they complain that when they want to get aid, when they have to do registration, it seems like they feel like they are cleaning their dirty linen in public, because the officers who question them, cross-examine them, they treat them as criminals, or even they feel like they have to beg for the money. So these are some of the sentiments of donors and even beneficiaries when we interview them about the feelings on getting Islamic social finance, whether they are donating it or they are getting the money. So what we feel is that the reason why there's trust deficiency in these transactions or within these types of transactions is because normally they don't have proper governance. When you don't have proper governance, that makes everything difficult, whether you are a donor or even a recipient or a beneficiary. So if we were to talk about building the trust on any type of institutions offering Islamic social finance, we should have a proper governance system established, because the mindset currently is that if it is not a commercial financial institution that is trying to get profit, then we don't have to follow a proper governance mechanism. To the extent we found out in one of our interviews that when we look at the staff competency and capability in these some of the Islamic social finance institutions, they don't prioritize their staff, and sometimes 90 to 95% they depend on volunteers, and even to manage the volunteers there is no daftar, or what do you call it, even a registry to properly even monitor how these volunteers are working. So I believe that trust is a very important element. In order to resolve the trust deficiency issues, we need to work on a proper governance framework that we could apply in Islamic social finance, irrespective of the type of institution which is offering it, whether it's a mosque or through an individual or through a quasi-government entity, doesn't matter. There should be a universal, uniform, basic Sharia governance plus corporate governance model that should be adopted by them, so that everything which they do will be up to that standard as we expect. Or normally we don't question how the commercial financial institutions operate, because they have regulatory authorities and they have solid corporate governance foundation. So same thing we need for that. Thank you very much. I hope I have answered your
Yes,
request.
sorry, I lost
Thank
your. I will request Dr. Malik to forward to me.
Okay, I think this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you should be able to refer to that. Inshallah, we'll share the link. Brother Khalfan had another question. Brother Khalfan, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you can hear me.
Walaikum assalam.
We
Yes,
can.
Sheikh
Thank you so
Khalfan.
much, Prof, for very insightful presentation. We really appreciate. Mine is on your observation with regards to we have a lot of Waqf lands that really sits in our different countries. I don't know if in your search or in your experience you have come across any model to develop these empty Waqf lands. I have several cases of people coming to me saying, I have this land of Waqf, and he doesn't know what to do next. And whatever ideas we have requires resources to develop these Waqf funds. Are we having any global platforms to raise funds for developing Waqf, or this is something to consider in future to integrate, crowdfunding for Waqf projects or something? What is your take? What's your experience to unlock this idle Waqf land?
Thank you very much for that question, Sheikh Khalfan. Definitely, again, this is a practical issue we face in different parts of the world. When we talk about building the Waqf lands, it's not easy to get financing. So if you look at the experience of other countries, for example, Singapore, they have formulated a sukuk based on musharaka, where they were able to successfully develop a Waqf land. And not only that, but while they were developing the land, they also faced challenges. One of the challenge which is mentioned in the literature is the geographical location of the land was not so good. So they had to do istibdal by getting consent from the Sharia scholars. They changed the location of the land from a low yielding area to a high yielding area, so that at least when they develop certain building structures, they will be able to get good rental proceeds to sustain the Waqf according to their vision. So issuing sukuk is one of the solutions if you have the enabling framework present in the country. And another solution could be, of course, crowdfunding could be one of the mechanisms, but we understand that to develop a Waqf land, it will not be so much suitable to go for crowdfunding unless a bigger amount can be contributed through such a mechanism. And thirdly, I think we have to come up with blended financing solutions as well, which could be structured based on the need as well. So I think for now, if we look at how other countries have sustained idle Waqf land in a productive way, we can consider looking at sukuks, how it can be issued as well. In fact, even the Zamzam Tower Sukuk model is also a good example using the concept of intifa. And if that sukuk has succeeded, there is potential to be replicated the same in other parts of the world. But having said that, it really depends on the jurisdiction. It really depends on the geographical location of the land and how we can generate revenue using the asset itself as well. So to answer another part of your question, whether we have a global platform to help the idle Waqf land, you can look at Islamic Development Bank. They have Awqaf arm where they help countries to develop Waqf as well. So they have a specialized unit for Waqf property, and they have ISFT, which is also Waqf. Mostly, I think cash Waqf is the specialization of that arm. So I would advise you to see IDB's platforms so that maybe you can find a solution through them as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-through question. Is there any case you came across on using zakat funds for developing Waqf, like a real estate, of which the proceeds of now that real estate will go to the poor? But first it goes towards developing the Waqf asset, and then the proceeds of the Waqf assets is then goes to the poor. Anything in that way or any other way where the source of funds are zakat?
I can't think of any practical project where that has happened, but I have seen potential models that are developed where one of the sources mentioned as zakat. So at the moment, no practical, actual case study comes to my mind on that. Thank you.
If I can share very quickly, not again in terms of related to Waqf properties development. Again, I don't think there's a two questions. I think or two cents from my side. One, I don't think there's a global register that is there in terms of Waqf properties, and if we have that kind of register, I think that will actually tell us the huge potential that this has. We have always been talking about the huge potential, but we don't really translate that potential into the numbers, what we are looking at. So all the Waqf properties that are there, we talk about in Turkey and in many other places around the world, I think are unregistered, and there's no global register for that. And I think having that would be very helpful. That's number one. Number two, with regards to your zakah question, and if zakah's proceeds have been used for development of Awqaf or Waqf asset, I don't think that has been used, but I think the first part of the question is where if the car can be allocated to that. I know that there has been certain initiatives in different parts of the world where zakah-based funds have been established, where the proceeds of those would be used for the relief purposes, but putting intact or keeping intact the asset or the car funds from that perspective. So perhaps maybe acting like a trust model or a foundation model that I've seen, but not its proceeds being used to develop Waqf. Perhaps need to be explored, but again, it comes with a lot of fiqhi problems from that perspective. But I think scholars have to debate, like yourselves, on these areas. But IDB, as Dr. Aishath mentioned, is doing an amazing work when it comes to development of some of the work-related projects, in particular in the African region. Maybe you're already aware of some of those projects, but they are doing. They have great case studies. Some of them are available on their website. Dr. Aishath, we also have another hand raised from Brother Kabiru. Brother Kabiru, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Nice presentation, Dr. Aishath. It was actually very enlightening to know that blended financing can also happen in this kind of situations. So my question is this, you talked about the solutions is not cash, but rather social innovative programs that is going to help like eradicate the social problems. So in a situation whereby government wants to come in and help or maybe set up this particular trust of a thing, how do we tighten holes in order not to have corruption? Sometimes people can actually place funds for social activities, maybe build hospitals, pipeline water, schools, but in the long run, you get to see embezzlement happening, thereby defeating the entire purpose of this particular project. So what ways will you suggest that we tighten this loose end so that corruption doesn't happen? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course, nowadays corruption is everywhere, right? And that is one of the complaints we have. One of the ways in which it could be resolved is by having the right technology. For instance, it is said that if we can use blockchain technology, we could have a platform where there will be enough transparency and the tracking mechanism that will ensure that the donor would have the assurance that whatever is being given by the person is being used in an effective way, and even the impact can be measured. But having said that, of course, you have to invest in this technology, and you will have to have an enabling framework to use such technology in the geographical location. Without the proper laws and regulation in place, it might not be effective as well. So one way is that. Another way, I think a long-term solution would be, in my opinion, is coming up with implementation of human governance mechanisms. We need to make people aware, especially those who are interested with responsibilities, about the human governance mechanisms and putting the correct internal control mechanisms in the institutions dealing with aid. Because sometimes we believe that our KPI is just showing to the world how much we have collected, but the impact is not measured as or used as a KPI mechanism. So I think we need to change that mindset. We need to focus on human governance, internal control mechanisms, and at the same time, instead of focusing on the amount donated, the impact created needs to be measured. And as donors, even we have a responsibility to ask about the impact. If the impact is not created, today the world is so small, we can choose a different institution to donate. So if we can demand that type of transparency, that type of a tracking mechanism, definitely it will make a difference. But as I have already mentioned, this could be a long-term solution. The short-term solution could be investing in technology. The right one will give the right impact as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another hand raised. We are getting to the final time of the session. Brother Tawfiq, you have a question and you can ask by voice, and I request you to keep it brief, please. Brother Tawfiq.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. My
Thank you
question
very
is
much.
that I'm a recent graduate of law from Nigeria, and I wish to pursue my master's degree in Islamic finance. So is there a fully funded scholarship for international students in INCIF? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Yes, we do have scholarships for masters and PhD as well. What you need to do is you can visit our website. There is an online application form. Please fill it and submit the application first. After you get successfully the offer letter, then you can apply for a scholarship. So that is the mode of applying for scholarships. We do have scholarships for international students also. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's very helpful. We have one question from Brother Ali, and I think his question is related to financial inclusion. I'll read out the question. How can we imagine Islamic social finance instruments such as Zakah, Waqf, and Qard al-Hasan be effectively integrated with digital financial platforms to enhance financial inclusion from underserved communities in both Muslim majority and minority countries?
Yeah. So how do we embed that into the technological platform is the question, right? If we
Yes.
look at the different crowdfunding platforms we have today, there are a lot of good platforms where they have integrated all types of Islamic, the general type of Islamic social finance instruments to it. For example, when you go to the platform, you can choose whether you want to make a zakat donation or whether you want to do a sadaqah or you want to go for any type of waqf project. So there are crowdfunding platforms where this is being very effectively used. So I wouldn't say it is not something which is theoretical, but which is something already in the market. If you need one case study, for example, Global Sadaqah platform is one of the platforms where you can find all these solutions embedded in one platform. Thank you.
And also Ethis has a good platform, which is which can be looked at as well.
Yes. This
One
is
last,
more like commercial finance, but if you want to look at the different types of Islamic social finance, there Sadaqah Arm would be the global Sadaqah platform. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Aisha. One more hand raised from Brother Abdullah. Brother Abdullah, you have the option to ask by voice. Brother Abdullah? I'm assuming the question has is no more a question.
Assalamu
So-
alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, I'm Abdullah Muhammad Kurman from the Republic of Liberia, West Africa. So I've been following all of the meetings from the Bahrain Institute and have a lot of interest when it comes to Sharia and finance aspect. So I really want to know, how do I get into the kinds of finance in Sharia when it comes to the Islamic study aspect, please?
Sorry, the
Okay.
question is again?
Yes, my
Could you please repeat the question?
question is that I have a lot of interest to, yes. So my question here is that I have an interest in, I've been following all of the meetings from you guys from these organizations, and I have an interest to influx in the Sharia and finance aspect from the Islamic finance. But I want to know, how do I impact myself and how do I get into this sector? Because I'm from Africa and my countries I am is not an Islamic country.
I see. So you want to get more knowledge about Islamic finance and get into the field, right? All right. So
Yes,
at
ma'am.
INSAF University, we have online master's courses, or even if you don't want to do a master's, let's assume that you want to learn Sharia aspect of Islamic finance transactions. So in that case, you can do an online module on that specific subject where your examination and even class attendance, everything will be done online. So I would advise you to again log into our website and check the courses available. It would be very convenient for you as long as you have internet. You would be able to enroll in our courses, and you don't need a Islamic finance or Sharia background in order to do those courses. So later on, you can contact me if you need more information. I will help you. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, I'm okay.
Thank you.
So you can help me share. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's okay. Okay, a very small question. Maybe need the one-liner. There's a question asked by Arimi, and the question is: are the beneficiaries of Islamic social finance exclusively Muslims?
No, it depends on the type of instrument and the type of Sharia inhibitions in it. So in short, no.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, thank you very much. I think that was really helpful. Before we go away, I just wanted to take a moment before I thank and conclude, the session. I want to take 1 minute and just share this one program that we are putting together for the benefit of our colleagues. Dr. Aishath, I'll just share the screen for 1 minute.
Yep.
I'm assuming my screen is visible.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So just for the benefit of everybody who is here, BIBF in collaboration with Cambridge Institute of Islamic Finance is putting together a 5-day Islamic finance leadership program at the University of Cambridge. It's an independent program of the University of Cambridge, but hosted at the university, which aims to prepare the next generation of leaders within the Islamic banking and finance. So the idea is to put together, senior or mid-management of banks and financial institutions under one roof and take them through to this comprehensive leadership program with a focus on Islamic finance. So you might have come across a lot of executive management courses from a conventional perspective, but when it comes to Islamic finance, in my knowledge, this is the only program that is focused on developing leaders within the global Islamic banking and finance industry, which is taking place. This is the 9th program that we are organizing in Cambridge. It's taking place in August, between 17 and 22 August, and it's a 5-day program. This year, interestingly, we have the university, one of the college from the University College of Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership as an official partner to the program. So this is a 5-day program. If there is any interest from anybody to benefit from this program, which is taking place in the UK in August, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to share more information on the program itself. In addition to that, of course, there are a lot of capacity building programs that BIBF as well, in addition to NCF offers. All of them are available on BIBF's website to enhance your understanding, knowledge, starting from basics, fundamentals of Islamic banking and finance, all the way to advanced level, topics. We offer short courses, professional courses, and bespoke customized training program for financial institutions where they appoint us to conduct them. So in addition to that, if you would like to take some degrees in Islamic finance, then NCF is the university to go for. Although we, for one of our professional qualification, we have a progression route collaboration with Coventry University in the UK, where if you complete an ADIF program, Advanced Diploma in Islamic Finance with BIBF, you can take a fast-track Master's in Islamic Finance from Coventry University. So I just wanted to share there's a lot of information that is available on our website. Please feel free to look at that. Please feel free to visit NCF website if you have interest in the programs that NCF offers. Mashallah, NCF is a flagship institution when it comes to global Islamic banking and finance industry. And we are very proud to have that, and very happy to have the collaboration between BIBF and NCF as well. So with that, we have run out of time. I wish we had time to answer more questions, but time is of essence, and unfortunately we have run out of it. The session will be uploaded on a BIBF's YouTube channel, so please feel free to refer to it, to your network, to your friends, if you have either missed it or enjoyed the session. Benefit from it later on as well. I think Dr. Aishath provided very thought-provoking ideas through those bullet points that he shared on how we can reimagine Islamic social finance, how can we make it more impactful and effective from that perspective. So with that, I would like to thank, first of all, Dr. Aishath Muneeza for sparing her time for sharing her knowledge and knowledge on the topic, her exposure, and how to effectively make use of the Islamic social finance. And on top of that, I would like to thank our partners Hejaz for supporting this initiative. And last but not the least, I would like to thank you very much for for being part of this event. And I hope you benefit from it. We organize these sessions on a monthly basis. So inshallah, next we will organize it in June, towards the end of June. So if you would like to join that session, please feel free to follow our social media pages. You will be informed about it, or you will receive an email from us. So with that, I would also like to thank our team for helping us putting this together. A lot of effort goes into putting together the event, but we're very happy with the outcome of it. It's a pleasure to host you on this platform, and look forward to having you, inshallah, at the next session in June, or inshallah looking forward to speaking to you before that. So with that, I would like to thank you all for joining us. With that, I would like to take your leave, and I hope you have a blessed 10 days of Dhul Hajj, and inshallah you have a pleasant and beautiful Eid with loved ones. And with that, I thank you, and take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.